My last video was like my pilot episode, and everybody knows it takes a few episodes for this season to really pick up. That being said, today we're making a red spotted jewel beetle, the way your mom turned red when I spot her on my beetle. Now that we have the tinfoil mold, we're going to cut off some of the clay and we're going to roll that shit out. And my tool of choice today is going to be my little brother's SpongeBob pencil, which doesn't do me much justice because it leaves little bits of laminate or plastic, whatever fuck that is, in the clay. And at one point I will try to get it out, but it's kind of hard, so I just leave it in and hope for the best. So right now you're just going to cover the tinfoil mold in a thin layer of clay. You can kind of see this thinner than usual because I'm going to get a little fancy and cover it with 2 layers of clay because I'm going to make the wings on the outside instead of just carving them in. Does that make sense? So for now, I am just going to cover it with the first layer, cut off the excess, and set it up so that it'll be okay when I make the wings. And believe it or not, I do have the reference photo on me at this point. I am watching it, trying to make it steady, and it's still, God, I mean, it would look fine. It would be fine if I kept it how it was here, where it's like, it looks more true to form, how it's supposed to be, but I don't. You see right there, it's supposed to be rounded at the top, and it would be fine, but then I add in the face, and the face makes it a little bit too long, if you ask me. I don't think it does the bug justice, but oh well, what are you gonna do? So you see that little piece right there? It's a little air pocket, and I stab it to get the air pocket out. Maybe I didn't have to do that, but I don't know. I just know that with regular clay, you're supposed to not have any air pocket or else it will explode when you put it in the kiln. And I know this is just Walmart brand oven baked clay, but I wasn't gonna take the chance, you know? So I just got it on my system. So I did that, and now it looks more like a nicely put together turd. And I'm just going to etch in those little pieces just to give myself a line of where to put the wings, which is what we're about to do right now. Whip out the SpongeBob pencil. See, I told you I was going to try and get it out. And that is the only attempt I make to get it out. After that, I'm like, you know what? It'll add character. So we're just rolling that out, making the second layer. And it's really coming together. It's really coming together, I think. It's looking good so far. It looks like a regular turd. I haven't fucked it up by adding the face yet. And that's fine with me. So now we're just going to scissor off the wings and ooh, put it together. I think it looks nice. So I'm going to use the mapping part. To see the part that I mapped out for myself, I'm going to use that, peel it back, cut it a little, and then just reapply it. Try to line it up as well as I can. You know, I'm really trying to channel my inner sculptor here. I'm trying to really be professional, and I'm just gonna line it up as best as I can, and I think it looks pretty good right now. One interesting thing about the jewel beetle is that they don't have to be, but they can be an invasive species. Can you imagine having to kill one of these things? Like, just walk with me for a second, right? Imagine you have this garden and you put your entire being into this garden, you know, heart, soul, pussy into it. And you have everything you could even think of, like a botanist's dream. You have roses, lilies, hydrangea, crescendo, burrito, all of it. You know, you put your heart into this shit to, you know, be able to ignore that your husband ignores you, ignore that your kids moved out and they barely call. Like, this is your baby, your garden. One day you're visited by a beautiful, sweet little iridescent friend, you know? And you get attached to this little friend, and he goes and brings all of his sweet little iridescent friends and to join in with you, and you grow a bond, You begin to love the bug as much as your flowers, but then you know there's too much. There's way too many, and you have to kill the fucking bug. You have to kill the fucking... And then what do? You're gifted a choice. You have a choice now. Do you keep the flowers, or do you keep your friends? And we all know the ethical answer. You have to kill the fucking bugs, you know? Would you be able to? Would you? So now I'm just making the face. Now I'm making the face. And I don't know what I was on, why I keep making these little dents. You know, I keep etching in all these lines. And I guess I was really feeling myself. I don't know. Because I don't think I have ever done it again after that. But hey, don't hold me to it. And here I am making the eyes. I think the eyes came out pretty good. That one was a little bit too off center. So I'm just making it again. Easy peasy. Roll up a piece of scrap paper and boom. Look at that. Perfectly circular in a way that I definitely wouldn't have gotten it to be freehand had I done it myself. So now we're putting in the dots. And if you actually look up the bug, you'll see that they're not scattered like how I do it. They're pretty linear. And I knew that. And you guys know I never go back to the reference photo to actually look and double check what I'm supposed to be referencing. But I knew that in my heart that they were supposed to be linear. And I just forgore. You know, I ended up winging it. Which is fine. That happens sometimes. But God, I wish I could have just remembered that it's not supposed to be that long. I don't know. It just bothers me. Now I'm making the legs, you know, same, bend the wire to the shape, whatever. And I just at this point in time, I have made 5 bugs. 5. And this bug is still everyone's favorite. And I just, it's not the right shape. You know when something's really good? Like you go to Wendy's and you order a Baconator and then they give you the wrong fucking one. And the burger they give you, you're like, fuck, you know, it's gone too far. And it still tastes really good. They give you the bourbon bacon sandwich. And you're like, you know, it still has bacon. It's still kind of sweet, like a Baconator. I can rock with it. But it's not what you ordered. It's not what it's supposed to be. So do you appreciate the bourbon bacon sandwich for what it is, but you can't think of what it could have been. It could have been what you wanted it to be. Anyways, I know I'm making this a little too serious. Let's go back. Let's go back to where we were. Right now, I'm putting in the legs. And I know the bottom part looks like really fucked up because you can see where it kind of molded in the clay and it has that deep center seam on the underside of the bug. That's because I was going to cover it with a cottony base underneath. If you look up a picture of the bug, I scavenged and found a picture of what the bug's supposed to look like on its underside. It kind of has like a white fuzzy fur thing. I was like, oh, that'd be cool to put some cotton on the bottom of the bug. I literally never did that. It would have been a nice detail, but I didn't. So now I'm just doing the same method as before that I did with the Alice Beetle legs, where I make it out of hot glue. For whatever reason, it was not working. This took like 5 attempts and it was not working. I think I did the same exact thing I did for the Alice Beetle legs, and it just was not coming together. It came together in the end though. So that's really all that matters. You can trip as much as you want, but at least you got back up and wobbled across the finish line. At least you wobbled. At least you made it somehow, some way. And it's still a tried and true method, I think. I think it's still a worthy method, but that's what we're doing right now. And it comes together towards the end. I get the hang of it, which is good. I'm happy we're all rooting for me here because I do get the hang of it. Okay, last little last little anecdote about the jewel beetle before we move on to the painting portion of this video. But I just want to point out that there are two different types, quote unquote, there are two different types of red spotted jewel beetle. One is slightly bigger than the other. One is Stigmodera cancellata, and the other is Stigmodera roei, whatever how you pronounce it. It's spelled Roei. And I think, if you ask me, I think it was that two entomologists, they were exploring in the forests of Australia, or wherever the fuck in Australia these things are found. And they both came across the jewel beetle and told all of their friends that they discovered this brand new jewel beetle, and then they discovered about each other and just came to a compromise and was like, we're just going to say that there are two different types of jewel beetle. But if you ask me, they're not. It's not two different types. They're the same fucking thing. But I'm not an entomologist. Never said I was. You guys can have it. I'm glad you guys were able to come to that agreement. Back to the painting. I mixed it, and I don't really know what I was going for, because it's like obviously I'm going for like a gold look. In real life it looks a little green. I don't know. It looks good to me. The metallic looks really, really good. The metallic I think looks amazing. Thank you, Walmart. And I did 2 coats. As you can see, 2 coats really bolsters the color. And I just really appreciate this bug. I feel like this bug, if it was a person, the red spotted jewel beetle, if it was a person, it would definitely listen to house music. I don't know. I feel like it would listen to Beyonce's new album, and it would hear Alien Superstar and think that Beyonce wrote the album specifically for her. You know, specifically for this bug. That's just me. That's just how I interpret it. And I ended up priming the red spots with white just to make it pop a little more. You know, this is a jewel beetle. It's an iridescent bug. I want it to pop. Whatever we can do to make the bug pop, we're gonna do it. And that's the mission. And I think we achieved it. And if I had $1 for every minute that I spent re-poking these goddamn holes, I wouldn't even need a sponsor on YouTube anymore, because I had to respot them. Or, you know, let's go back to the beginning. I had to spot them originally in the clay. Then I had to spot them with every layer of paint. Don't know why I was going to say cake. I was going to spot them also with the glaze, which I will get to in a sec. And it was still worth it, I think. Because I think the spots really do it. I think the spots bring it together. So if you're going to do it at home, suck it up. Suck it up and do it anyway. Get that little pointy thing, I don't know what it's called, or get a toothpick or a pen. I wouldn't recommend a pen. Do a toothpick and just tough it out. Okay guys, we've reached the point in the video where I've started to glaze the bug. So you know what that means. We've reached the end of our time together. But if you had even 10% as much fun watching as I had making, then I think that's a success. Thank you for watching my second video ever. And I hope that I only continue to get better at making these videos as well as making the bugs for you. So please comment what you think I should name the bug. And that's a wrap. See you for the next one.